Good day, guys. I hope we're all good. So I thought I should come with a quick one today, just show what we traded during New York session. So we were looking at nasdaq and we were looking at gold. We don't normally trade gold, but we managed to take a quick scalp today. So looking at nasdaq, I noticed we've got this peak sticking out here. This was last week highs, and this peak sticking out makes me think that this price has got the potential of actually pushing down. But before we push down, price obviously has to retrace. So if we are to retrace or do a stop hunt, price can most likely get into this order block, which for me looks like it's a supply zone. If it's respected, we might actually get price pushing down. But for today, my bias was bullish, looking forward for price to come into this particular OB. So if you also look at where price was turning, like at these swings, you will notice that here we had equal lows. TDI, we had one leg outside the bands, one leg inside. So for me, this is a divergence setup. Same applies here. We had this higher high coming from this trend. It created a higher high here, but the TDI created almost equal highs or a lower high showing a divergence setup. So this was the sell from yesterday. Then today, again, we had a bit of a divergence here, equal lows and almost equal lows as well here. So that just gave me more confluence to look for that push up coming back into the zone. So to show this a bit more clear, we're going to switch to trading view. So on trading view, my entry trigger was, I just kept it simple. I was waiting for a break of the current high of the day at that time when I came to the chart. So New York session is the time we trade. So waited for the equity market to open, which is 16:30 on the time. So if we drop to the 3-minute time frame, okay, just adjust it. So my entry trigger, like I said, I was waiting for price to break this high. So I was waiting for this setup with a buy stop. My target was actually on 21,600 and potentially 21,650. But at the same time, if you follow us for some time, you know if we trade indices, as long as price moves to at least 50 points of the intended target, we always scale out or close completely depending with what we'll be seeing on price. So 1630 was right here. You can see this push down here. Then my buy stop was right there. So my entry got triggered. It pushed halfway. Then it retraced all the way back into the stop loss range. Then it pushed back to the 50-point mark. And then now it's retracing. So when price got to the 50, knowing that price can potentially push down based on the setup I have at 50 points, that's when I scaled out and closed my trade. I closed the whole position here. I'll show it to you just now. So this was the trade on NASDAQ. So let me quickly switch. Okay, I'm not sure if I was showing the screen here. So let me just explain that again. Okay. All right, so this is the setup. I hope it's visible now. All right, in case I didn't capture this screen, I'm just going to explain again. I was waiting for a breakout of the current high of the day, and I waited for the stock market to open because we know that's when the volume or liquidity is injected into the markets. So buy stop triggered, exited the trade at 50 points, like I just explained. This is just the visuals. So price retrace back into the entry area, push back again to the 50-point mark. Then now it's pushing down. So as long as you know that your price is going the other way, or if you're trading against the main trend, which you see, it's always good to scale out at any points which line up with your trading system. So let me quickly share my whole screen so that I can show you the particular trade when it was running. Okay, gold, NASDAQ. So let me just quickly share the trade idea first. So like I said, we were looking at gold. You can see I had friends who sent gold. Then I was like, are we looking at possible buys? You can see this was just like 2 minutes before the stock market opened. So we're looking for possible buys on NAS, buy stop on today's high, TP at 100 to 150 points if it pushes up. Then we had guys who were on gold, which is perfect. All right, so let's quickly go to the trade. All right, we're just going to wait for it to load. Right, so you can see this was the NASDAQ setup. The buy stop triggered right there. TP was slightly up here, like I say, 21,650. But we closed off this trade at about 2%. Let me also quickly show it before we switch. Right, you can see it on the bottom here. Okay, the chart is just loading. This is the profit we're doing. So you can see this was the 2% we took. So that setup was a success. So for now, I feel like they look like they are pushing down in respect of this particular setup we have. So we're saying the peak has been set. So if the peak is set, we are looking forward to moves like this. So the next move to happen right now, if you're in charts, you can take, if we get a close below this OB, let me just zoom in. So for those who haven't caught a trade, if we get a break below that OB, that can be a potential sell right here, just below this order block you see here. Once we get it close below this zone, this will be a potential sell. So sell with current market price, and you can target yesterday's lows as a take profit, which will be about 50 to 60 points. And if you can target the normal 100, if we do get an impulsive move, then price will definitely pay out the 100 points. But first, before that setup becomes valid, we need to get a close below this order block for it to become a breaker. So this is a current setup loading for those who haven't caught a trade yet. But for us, we already done. We took this one. So we are also looking at gold. So gold basically has been pushing up. You can see from the daily, these are the levels we mentioned. So price is pushing up towards the level we marked. Spoke about this a few days ago. So if you come to each one, it's more or less the same thing. Price pushing up. So jumping back again to trading view. I'll show you where the entry was. So again, before we leave NASDAQ, this is part of trade management. You should know your plan for the setup before you execute. So if you know that if you enter here, if you get here, you're going to scale out or close, you should just follow it. Because if you do not follow your plan, price will simply come back, take you out, and you will just regret not taking these points when they were made available. So quickly switching to gold. Right, you can see this is the setup I took. We're looking at gold. You saw the other guys, they were also looking at gold. So again, here, let me start with it from the M15 so that you can get some more price action. Okay, so for this one, this was a breakout trade. This was definitely a breakout trade. So what we're looking for on gold, this was yesterday's high. We know that we are pushing up. We are in a bullish bias. So this setup was a bit simple, just textbook entry, waiting for price to break the previous day's high, potentially retest it and continue pushing up. So I did not enter here. You can see here price retraced into an order block at New York Open. We pushed and we had a breaker here. So you could have also had entered with a buy stop. But for me, I waited a bit, and as you notice, I wanted to scalp it, so I had to go to a smaller time frame and just look for something familiar. So on the smaller time frame, you'll notice that price was respecting the 13 EMA. So 13 EMA is working as a trend line here. So it's a dynamic support. So price pushed up, then we bounced off here. So as soon as I saw this, I entered my trade here, stop loss here, 1:3. I think I exited around 26.88. That's where I scaled out. Then 26.90 was the final TP for the last position. So yeah, this we also shared. Let me see if I can quickly show you there. Okay, we're just going to wait for it to load. Okay, so you can see this was the entry 26.83. Then as soon as it went into profit, I was just like trailing because I was scalping. I didn't want to hold for too long. So I scaled out right here. Then this one you can see I opened another buy and I closed immediately. This was an emotional entry here. So it was not part of the plan. So I quickly closed it. Then if you notice, this is one runner still going to 26.90, which we had. So I left one small runner, which eventually hit TP before the price retraced. I'm not sure if it actually retraced. Let's see. Yeah, we hit TP. Then as soon as we hit, price started retracing back into this range. So this was the gold setup. This was a breakout trade. So for those who trade breakouts, this is it. As long as you've got a bias, that's the first thing. You need a directional bias coming from the higher time frame, mainly the day one or maybe the H4. So D1 gives you your bias. Then when you come to the smaller time frames, you're just looking for patterns. And if you mark your zones, wait for the breakout. If there's anything else familiar, like a breaker block here, you simply take moving average also working as a dynamic support or as a trend line there. So this was the quick scalp on gold, which was a success. And this trade on US 30, which was also a success. It didn't really get to 100 points, but for us, it was good because we still closed with a profit. So that's all for today. For those who still haven't traded, like I said, you can wait for a potential breaker. This setup is looking like the one we had yesterday on US 30. For those who watched yesterday's session, we had a setup like this. So let me quickly show you. So we identified that the peak was set last week. Then price dropped, did a stop hunt, dropped, another stop hunt, drop. Then today we had a continuation. Then the stops happened at the bottom. So now price is trading back up into this range. So today I wasn't looking at US 30, so that's why we actually didn't take this. Otherwise, if you're looking at this, you simply need to see what price is doing and what you anticipate. So before price drops, they will retrace, drop, retrace. So here, the drop was continuous. We eventually hit TP, if you notice yesterday's trade as well. And this looks like it's a possible retracement back into this level here. For those who are in the trade, I'm sure that's your target. So NASDAQ looks like it's the same thing. So it will only be invalid if we do not come below here. Remember, we've got this order block here. So we want to come below for the sell to be valid. Otherwise, if price comes and still closes above, that means this is invalid and price will still most likely trickle back into this zone. We won't look for any long-term buys unless maybe we come back above this level, but that we'll have to determine tomorrow during our New York live trading session. So I think that's it for today. There was nothing in line with the candlestick trading Bible. That's why I didn't do any example today. We only had the breakout trade on gold, and we had that NASDAQ retracement, which can also be classified as a breaker block because we had a breaker block or a broken order block just before our entry. You can also call it a breakout trade because remember we had this level here, right here, which was the current high before we actually decided to enter. So this is also a breakout. We break out of that resistance and we just continue pushing up all the way to 50 points. So if you get to 50 and you don't take your profits here, then I don't know. If you are trading indices, just make sure your minimum target always has to be 50. to 100. Anything above is always a bonus if you are day trading. But for swing traders, then the rules are a bit different. But again, you can always trade based according to your own personal rules with your trading system as well. These are just my own personal rules based on my trading system. So I hope this session helps. We're talking about breakouts and we were talking about divergence on NASDAQ. So that's it for today. I hope you guys had a productive day. Let's catch up tomorrow at around about the same time. If we do have something familiar, we'll definitely record the trading session and I'll share with you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good trading.